Hey, I'm Jeremy Seuss. I'm here to talk about some of the issues that you might have with gums and why healthy gums are important and why do dentists make a big deal about it. Hopefully I can answer some of those today. Healthy gums are important for a variety of reasons. It sounds like a boring topic, I'll give you that, but people say that our digestive system is like the gateway to our immune system, and I think there's a lot of truth to that. Well, right here is the entry to our digestive system. So our teeth, our gums, the health of our mouth, all of that plays a role with how well we digest food and our nutrition, and nutrition impacts our ability to fight disease and just how our immune system works. So gums are a big part of that, and they're part of the structure that we evaluate, and it's something that we make a big deal about, but for good reason. What happens when you have unhealthy gums? I think let's go back to the cause of it. I think the causes can be multifold. If someone's just not taking good care of their teeth and their gums, they could get a lot worse. But the other thing that people don't give enough credit to is genetics. It can play a role. So we've all met those people that they don't brush, they don't floss, they're not doing all the things that they should, but still they get a good checkup. And on the other hand, you might have met people who they brush and they floss and they do all the things that they should, but they continue to have problems. Now, genetics or our own individual biology can play a role in that one. So it's not always your fault if you're one of the people that tends to have problems with their teeth or their gums, despite your best efforts. Sometimes that might be your individual body and how it responds to the bacteria that you have, or just any of the bugs that live in our mouth. That might be something that's more of a challenge for you than the other person. When people hear that they have problems with their gums, when they have bone loss going on, when they have loose teeth, when they have all of those things, immediately I hear patients say, well, I got to pull them all out. I got to replace them. And that's not necessarily true. I think there's lots of different ways that we can help get the gums healthy, help stabilize the bone around our teeth. We want those teeth to be good looking. We want them to work well. We want them to last a long time. Those are reasonable things to ask, and you should ask the same questions when you're at your dentist. But yes, there's a lot of things that we can do to make your gums more healthy, to make your teeth more stable, and to make them last a long time. It's just a situation where we got to find out what's going on with your teeth to find out what's the best way that we can make that happen. Let's say it's been years and years since your last dental cleaning, and instead of one layer of stuff on the surface, there's many, many, many layers of stuff built up on the surface of your tooth. Let's say that stuff is halfway calcium, and it's partially bacteria, and it's partially food particles and the bugs that feed on those food particles. The longer that sits on the surface of the tooth, the harder to remove it becomes. One of the analogies I like to use is it's like barnacles on the bottom of a boat. If that boat's been in the ocean for a long time, those barnacles will be thick. There's going to be a lot of them. And if your job was to clean the bottom of that boat, it would take you a long time. Now, on the other hand, if someone had continually been cleaning the bottom of that boat, taking it out and properly maintaining that, there'd be hardly any barnacles at all. If we're going to say that that's like a cleaning, if you had a lot of calcium on the surface, if you had a lot of bacteria living on the edges of your teeth, those are like thick barnacles, and that takes a long time to remove. It might even take more than one appointment, and that's something that happens more often than I'd like it to. But if your teeth are well maintained and you don't build up those heavy calcium deposits, let's say you don't have those barnacles, then your cleaning will be a lot more straightforward and a lot easier to accomplish, maybe even just in one visit. When we talk to patients about how to fight gum disease and how to stop bone loss and how to get rid of this process that's going on, if we find that it's the heavy barnacles that are on the side of the teeth, whether it's that calcium or the bacteria that feeds on those little calcium deposits, that's something where you might need a deep cleaning. Now, then the second question they ask is, that sounds uncomfortable and that sounds painful. And the reality is, if we were going down below the surface and really getting those hard calcium deposits off, if you weren't numb or if you didn't have some kind of anesthesia in that area, that could be uncomfortable. That's why we do use numbing and we do use anesthesia, because we want to do as good a job as possible. We want to get all the deposits off, get you back to a clean slate, but also do it in a way that's comfortable for you. Numbing is the perfect way to do that. So after you've had a deep cleaning, your next logical question would be, how do I maintain this? It's not necessarily something we do for fun. It's something we do to make you healthier and better. But I wouldn't blame you if you said, well, I don't want to go through that all the time. And I agree with you. You should maintain those results. And one of the best ways is to keep the soft stuff from building up on your teeth. It starts with food particles, and then bacteria attaches to it. And the longer it's allowed to sit on the tooth, the more it becomes like calcium, like a barnacle that's attached to the tooth. So by getting it swept off and keeping it swept off, that's probably your best defense against that thing building up again, and your best defense against needing another deep cleaning in the future. So that's your route for maintenance. You might have heard of people who have recession, or they'll say, hey, my gums are pulling away from my teeth, and my teeth are getting longer. And it's pretty rare that our teeth actually do get longer. Usually it's the gums pulling away, and it makes the teeth look longer, but it's really the gum tissue going down. Now, to a small degree, that's okay, but when it gets past a certain point, that can cause damage to the root structure of the tooth. It can show us that there's bone loss around the teeth. Teeth can even get loose if that process goes too far. So you might have heard of someone who needs a gum graft, and that's a description of us taking more gum tissue and adding it back to the surface of the tooth, so that process can either be stopped or it can be slowed down. We don't want the gums to keep going down. We want to freeze them in their path. Sometimes gum grafting is the right thing to do to stop that process. If you look in there and you think, gosh, it's been a while since I've been in, or my gums they're irritated, they're puffy, they're bleeding, or if you can just see that they're trapping a lot of stuff around the edge, that won't be healthy for your gums. It's probably time to come in and have that stuff removed in a controlled way so that your gums can get healthy again. That's the point. Let's get you back to how you were. Let's make sure that your foundation's stable, your teeth stay strong, and you can smile with confidence. The best way to do that is make an appointment with your local dentist. I hope I've been able to answer those questions. If you look in there and you think, gosh, that's me, or that's someone I know or someone I love, it's time to make that appointment. Come on in, get the gums looked at, and make sure that it's not a situation that's an emergency. As long as it's not an emergency, let's make a plan to get the gums as healthy as possible so you don't have to worry about that foundation, and you can worry instead about whitening or straightening your teeth or something fun, something that, people love to show off. But you got to have a good foundation before we can do either of those 2 second steps. Give us a call, 503-786-3000.